My opinion, you may disagree. Let me know. But he's not qualified in any stretch of anyone's imagination. Him nor the people that he's setting to be a part of his administration. We're not going to get into Betsy DeVos, the education secretary, and her talking about grizzly bears. Like, that's why guns should be in schools, because there might be a grizzly outside. I live in Baltimore City. I ain't seen a grizzly no place. Now, I guess maybe the conversation would be a little different if we were talking about deer, but grizzlies, like, really? But, that's something that definitely has to be, understood. And then with his, I'm not sure who Kelly Conway, what position she holds, other than I'm going to stand up for whatever Trump says because he's paying me very well. And I'm high up on the totem pole. But her bringing out of that whole alternative facts, everybody understand. Alternative facts, that's a very nice way to say a lie, right? So even though your parents always said, don't say that, that's not nice to say. Now children can say, and now adults can say, that's an alternative fact. Because that's what she thought it was okay to say. Well, those are alternative facts. Really? Like, really? When have alternative facts ever been okay? There's no such thing as the alternative fact. The only alternative to a fact is a lie. And, there's no way to make that make sense, right? So, either the sun is out or it's not. Right? So the alternative fact of that is, I'm not sure. The sun is out or it's not. Anyway, don't get me, that's part of the whole ranting, because I'm ranting about that whole situation. But when we come back, we're going to talk about the executive orders. We're going to talk about even more. I touched very briefly about the Women's March that occurred, that had great success across the globe, because there are gender rights that need to be, that need to be secured for women in this world, because it's shifting. And I'm trying to tell you right now, there's an upsetness that's going on in the world, because the privileges and the benefits that the white male has had for centuries is being questioned, challenged, and they're not feeling good about that, as we can see with President Trump. But anyway, if anybody remembers the Schoolhouse Rock, I hope you do, because I love Schoolhouse Rock, like all the episodes of Schoolhouse Rock. But anyway, I'm going to play a portion of the Schoolhouse Rock, and this one is about the preamble to the Constitution that we'll get into, about the Constitution, and is that document, the Constitution, it needs to be reworked, right? So after all of these centuries and these decades, and just with changes, it probably, not even probably, it needs to be tweaked, because everybody wasn't involved or participated in the drafting of this country's letter of the law, the guidance for this country. So anyway, Schoolhouse Rock, the preamble.
Hey, do you know about the USA? Do you know about the government? Can you tell me about the Constitution? Hey, learn about the USA. In 1787, I'm told our founding fathers did agree to write a list of principles for keeping people free. The USA was just starting out, a whole brand new country, and so our people spelled it out, the things that we should be. put those principles down on paper and called it the Constitution. And it's been helping us run our country ever since then. The first part of the Constitution is called the Preamble and tells what those founding fathers set out to do. We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. In 1787, I'm told, our founding fathers all sat down and wrote a list of principles that's known the world around. The USA was just starting out a whole brand new country, and so our people spelled it out. They wanted a land of liberty, and the preamble goes like this. We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America, for the United States of America.
So that was the Schoolhouse Rock, the preamble to the Constitution. And, you know, it's a lot that's said. There's a lot of future hope that actually that the drafters, which, like I said, you know, there's a shifting, not for all, because some white men understand, you know, this country was built, you know, on things that we're trying to put in place today, right? So how are you going to turn away refugees or immigrants today when in fact the country was founded by refugees and immigrants, right? So they left England. It wasn't like England paid for a boat for them to come over here. Like, they left the persecution that they were feeling in England and came here. And when they got here, this land mass was already there were already people living here. Like, there were already people living here. And so, which brings me to Trump's executive orders. We'll get into that. But there were already people that were living here. And so they were not they were founding only for that group of people that they found this landmass. But the landmass known as North America was already founded. There was already people living on the land. And so, you know, all of that has been forgotten as there's walls being built to keep people out. Can you imagine if back in 1787 that the Native Americans that were here, if they built a wall to make sure that when you get up off that boat from England, that you cannot get into the U.S.? My goodness, exactly what would have happened, right? So, and those are all things you need to think about. Instead, you were welcomed with open arms. You welcomed with open arms. And yet, a whole bunch of history, and some of it, much of it, is a bloody history because a lot of people died. A lot of people argued. A lot of people fought. You know, fought for the freedoms the freedoms that we so-called enjoy today. A lot of people fought for that. Like, you know, I could just go on and on about that, and you know what I'm talking about. And they fought for that. And now it seems that we have to fight even more. So we have the Women's March. And then one of the executive orders preventing Muslims from 7 identified countries. Of course, it's not a country in which he has any dealings with, right? If his companies and his corporations that he has is none of those countries. And it's on the basis of religion. If you say that you are a Muslim, then, they don't want to let you in. Like, really? That makes no sense. I saw a really great on the internet. They had a really great meme, as they say. And so that meme said, so Muslims have to pay for Muslims everywhere. But the moment you ask white America to be responsible for what happened to black Americans when they were slaves and about that bloody history, their answer always is, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. So you can't pin that. You can't pin the history of America on white Americans, on the white community. But Trump, as he's in office, is trying to pin whatever has happened. And so they find out about the religion. They have us looking sideways at a religion. And I happen to be a Muslim. Again, not Orthodox, but I am a Muslim. And so for anything that I do as a Muslim, as a woman, as a black person, what you're not going to do is put every wrong that has happened with all of those groups on me just because I identify with that group. That just makes no sense. But of course, here it is. And that's what's going on. So that is a freedom that is being tested. Or, as Trump would say, and Kelly Conway would say, that's an alternative fact. That's an alternative fact. And as a result of the alternative fact, Muslims everywhere have to pay for, someone who might have been upset and may have done wrong and certainly did not follow, what God has placed on us. And because, being a Muslim is all about peace. Peace be upon you. They don't want, Muslims don't want a whole bunch of chaos and chaotic operations and behavior going on. But they certainly want all Muslims to pay for what they see as supposedly, they always try to say these are the countries that have been identified. But when we get into identifications for wrong behavior, I just want to know, are you pinning the Oklahoma bombing that did kill children as well as adults? Are we calling white men terrorists? Are they responsible for what happened with, I can't think of his name, Nichols? Are we pinning on all white people what happened with the gentleman that went into the church and killed people just because? Are we pinning everything on all white people because of that? Like, it can't be. And that just doesn't happen. I don't hear you saying, oh, well, we're going to stop black people from entering black churches because, there's an incident that happened. It was a terrorist incident, and a white man went into a black church, a predominantly black church, and killed people as they were trying to work on their spiritual health. So, but here we are saying, Muslims cannot enter this country based on their religion and based on the quote unquote history, as Kelly Conway said. The history. And this is only temporary, they say. It's only temporary. But I'd like to know, if you were to tell her you cannot temporarily enter your home, how she would feel about that. I'm sure she certainly wouldn't stand back and be okay with that at all. So, that is part of that. And then we have, so there's people are going to the airports because people have been, based on Trump's executive order. And let me read to you as closely as possible in terms of the executive order. Okay, we'll get back to that in a second because I do want to read to you